Hi, my name is Linda Larson Schlitz, and I am with the Faucet of Hope. And I'm a faucet because I'm going to give you stuff that you need, and I'm giving you hope, the help, the opportunity, the praise and the encouragement to do what you need to do to make that business thrive and profitable. I'm going to do that by sharing how I managed to start 5 businesses with homeless people that had mental health, substance abuse, coming out of jail, prison, and nowhere to live, and not a whole lot of background. Some of them have never worked a real job in their life, and most of them had not worked a job and held it for any length of time, in sometimes decades. How do you take people like that and get them to work at your business and not rip you off and not, just really cause problems on the workplace? Well, there's no guarantees with any human being, but there are some secrets to it. And I call it the paradigm of the faucet. And I want to share it with you because it is the key to unlocking the potential of your business. The paradigm of the faucet is simply that we are all created for a purpose. And that purpose is to do what we're good at, what we enjoy doing, what we're naturally talented and gifted at doing, and to get the help we need to make money doing it. That's pretty simple. And unfortunately, our society, our system is not set up to do that. We put everybody in this little box of normal, whatever normal is. And we decide how people should behave and how they should act and what they should do and when they should do it and how they should do it. And you know as well as I do, whoever you are, you've been put in that box too, and you don't fit. You don't fit, you haven't fit, you never fit, you didn't fit into, maybe it was a particular class that a teacher tried to shove you into, maybe it was an employer that you couldn't stand. Think of how you felt at those times, and every single one of your employees feels the same. Every one of your potential employees feels the same. They just want a place to be. They just want a purpose. They just want to live out what they were created to do in life, and they want to get some positive feedback for doing it. When I started the Randlin Homes Reintegration Assistance Program, it was because there was a need. As a job counselor at the Job Center for the Department of Workforce Development, I had been trying for 5 or 6 years that I'd been there, and what can you do with people who are homeless? What do you do with people that are living under bridges? They can't get up and shower in the morning. You can't get a hold of them to call them in for an interview. They don't have a transportation to get there, or they'd be living in the car. What do you do with that? Well, my first logic is we got to get them housed and clothed and fed and stabilized before I can get them a job. So that's what we did. We started a nonprofit organization with my homeless veterans representative, my family, and some other folks in the community, and we started an organization that did just that. Well, then the challenge was, how do I get employers convinced that these people are worth hiring? They have a terrible track record. Most of them were veterans, and even though they were veterans, they didn't have a good work history, and they had issues. They had mental health issues. They had physical health issues, many of them, and a lot of them had substance abuse problems. So what do you do with all of that? Well, what we figured out, it took a while for me to figure out how could we turn this around for good. And it doesn't work with every single person, at least not in what we were doing, because some people just weren't a good fit for what we were doing. Some people were just so ingrained in our social thinking that it was really hard to break them out of. But bottom line, every person wants to feel that they're needed. They need a purpose. They're created for a purpose. So what we had to do was to find out what makes each person tick. What is that thing that they have to offer? So we did some evaluations. When they first would come in, we would look at, what do you like to do? What are you good at doing? What are you capable of doing? Some of them had no idea because all they'd ever done is what somebody told them that was all they could do. If they got a job in a factory out of high school, that's what they did. And that's all they thought they could do because that's all they knew. And they didn't want to go back to school. And you know what? Most of these people didn't need to go back to school because they were really good at doing things that didn't require them to be in school. I've got a whole different view on education now than I did years ago, because when I've seen people really tap into what they love to do, man, they will do everything they need to do to get the training that they got to get to be the best they can be. So it all started really when someone called and said, do you have any of your people that could rake leaves for me? He was a Korean veteran, and he needed some help. So somebody went over, one of the guys, I said, hey, can any of you guys go and do this? So one of them went over and raked leaves. And the veteran was so happy that they donated to our nonprofit, and they gave the resident a tip. The light bulbs went on. Hey, there's a tip, there's some money. I felt value. So then more people were doing it, more of the residents. Well, hey, yeah, I'll volunteer, I'll do that. Well, I'll tell you what, this thing snowballed, and it went from doing lawn care, raking leaves in the fall, to shoveling snow in the winter. And then we decided to open a little storefront, secondhand store, because we had so many donations we didn't need. So we opened a storefront, and lo and behold, here we have thousands and thousands of things now coming in. So we had to buy a house to get more people to run these businesses, because now we've got a lawn care business, a snow removal business. We'd already started a brat stand. Well, in Wisconsin, a brat, spelled brat, is not a little kid who's naughty. A brat is a bratwurst, like a hot dog thing, and I feel funny having to explain that, but I was surprised how many people didn't know it. So we had this little hot dog stand going. So that was 4 businesses then, and then it ended up developing into a warehouse, because it grew so big in our store. We didn't have room for everything, so we opened a huge discount warehouse. And then I developed a program for people who wanted to create things, and they wanted to make things. So then we developed the Gallery of Hope store. All of these things combined grew into 47 beds that we had with residents that were all working in one capacity or another. They had to go through training for 3 different areas of something. So they got a chance to learn how to do things like customer service and sales and marketing and doing layouts for things. And then we had some really, really gifted people that were good with woodworking and doing arts and crafts. So we developed that, and people learned that, hey, I'm a pretty good artist, or I'm not a bad manager. I remember one of our guys never managed before, and one of the other guys relapsed, and that happens. And he was drunk on the job, so we had to send him home. And hey, I said, okay, Arlen, you're the new manager. And he became the new manager, and we gave him some training, and not as enough for what he did, but he found he had a natural gift to do that. That's the key. That's what I want to offer you. I want to offer you the opportunity to learn how to work with every single person that is in your workforce. And I want to help you break the barrier and break the stigma that I can guarantee you and your company is sitting in. And some of you employers, I feel sorry for you, because your corporate, who doesn't have a clue, in some other state probably, is so discriminatory that you are missing out on the absolute best employees that you could possibly have for a position, because maybe they were a sex offender. We have a stigma against mental illness, against criminal records, against people who are differently abled. So we just write them off, and you are missing the people that you most need in your business, because these are most likely the people who are longing, craving for a purpose, because life hasn't maybe gone well for them. Maybe they did make some bad decisions. Maybe they have been caught up in alcohol and drugs, because what else is there for them to do? Nobody will hire them. They didn't have a purpose. You, whoever you are listening to this, your job in life is to help other people find their purpose. I'm telling you, every one of us, that's our purpose in life. I truly believe that. The way that you can change the world by letting me come and help you change the lives of all the people under you and all the potential people that could come through your doors is going to change history forever. This is a huge responsibility that you have as a manager, as a supervisor, as a social worker, as a counselor, as a parent. We all have a huge responsibility, not to put pressure on anybody, to help others become the best they can be. And we all win when that happens, because you know what? Nobody can do it alone. You can't figure it out alone. I'm telling you, you can't figure it out alone. I didn't figure it out alone. And had I learned how to get help and how to reprioritize and how to do things differently, that organization would be flourishing today. But it's not flourishing like it was at one point, where these people brought in over $400,000 in the matter of the first few years. How does that happen? Well, it happens with a lot of cooperation and a lot of collaboration and some good people who are good leaders. And if you lose those people because you didn't pay them, you didn't have the structure in place, you didn't have a way of empowering everyone and holding everybody accountable for doing what they're created to do, then you end up with a negative work environment. And when you've got a negative work environment, then people get discouraged and then they quit. Then you've got turnover. Over 75% of the people right now are looking for work someplace else. Do you think you're gonna really make a lot of money if that's the case? I can help you with that. I can help you to not only evaluate the people that you have right now in your workplace and see, do they want to be there? If they don't want to be there, why don't they want to be there? And if there's nothing you can do, then let me help that poor person get to the place that they need to be. Because they're going to be miserable, they're going to cost you a fortune in medical, because they're either going to get fired, they're going to quit, or they're going to get sick. And if they get sick, they're going to just cost you a ton of money that way. So let me help you help them to find a better fitting job for them that's going to help them find their passion. But you probably have a whole ton of people that if you did this, if you did that, if they had the chance to work in this position or work different hours, they would thrive for you and make you $1 zillion. Well, maybe not $1 zillion, but they would make you more money right now than what you're seeing, because they're not getting what they need. They aren't empowered to do what they're passionate about doing. It's not that hard. I'm telling you, it does not cost money to do this. Seriously. Okay, the cost of what it would be to have me come in and do this it'll come back to you within probably the first week. Seriously. If you've got more than 50 employees, it'll come back to you in the first week by doing some very simple things in the long range. And I'll help you track that, actually. I'll help you prove my point that I'm going to be worth your time, because I will do for free your initial evaluation, your initial customer employee satisfaction survey. I'll do that for you for free for your first 50 employees. And I will show you where your problem areas are, and then we'll work on how to fix those problem areas. And then 6 months later, or whatever time we decide is best for your company, we'll do a post-test and see how different that is. And we'll evaluate those employees and see how much profits you now have that you were losing before. You got to get that P&L up, and the only way to do it is to have happy customers. And the only way to have happy customers is, yes, have happy employees. Let me show you how to do that. I've got a proven system that has worked nationwide, being used all over the world. It was initially developed by the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Administration from the federal government. I was one of the pilot testers in the state of Wisconsin, and employers are loving it. They are just loving it because you aren't given these tools. And a lot of people out there, you have no tools. You're just kind of winging it like I did, to be honest. I just was kind of a naturally lucky person, and the concept was great, and the people I worked with were so hungry for purpose that it didn't take a whole lot to make this work. They had ownership in this company, so much ownership that their housing lived and died whether or not they made that company work. You've got to let your people know how crucial they are to your place of business, not just to make you money, but for themselves. So let me help you. My name is Linda Larson Schlitz. You can go to faucetofhope.com. It's easier to remember, probably, faucetofhope.com or lindalarsonschlitz.com. And I want to come and meet with you. I want to help you get started on this immediately. We can do training online. I can come to your workplace. I can work with you just in a consulting capacity with problem employees. I can come and work with your whole staff. I can work with your employees even and do training for them to inspire them. I can do a lot for you. And the governor of Wisconsin has given me a plaque saying that people in Wisconsin should follow after me because I've been a great example. The Department of Workforce Development Secretary Reggie Newsom sent me a wonderful letter for being nominated for the Person of the Year. I got the Red Cross Hero and the Athena Award because of this program and the success of how I was able to put this together. And I'm telling you, it is going to make a difference in your business, and even more important, how you leave a legacy of hope for all eternity. Thanks for giving me the time. Be looking forward to hearing from you.